So I have one question about our sexuality.
Yes.
About what is happening in that time when we have the intercourse. What happened, like energetical, mechanical?
Well, your chakras are aligning. The idea of the kundalini is activated. You're connecting more energetically to more of yourself and more of creation in a variety of ways. You're activating different markers in your genetic structure in certain ways. A lot of things are happening. You're giving off energy bursts with your heartbeat that travel out at what you call the speed of light around the world and immerse people in that vibration of connection and harmony and integration. There's a lot of things happening during that particular experience.
Ah, that's interesting. Thank you. But as I am a tantric therapist,
yes,
I increase also in the sessions the people's energetic level or something is happening, as I understand, in a higher level also. But
yes,
what is happening in a higher level?
Well, it's not so much that there is more happening in a higher level, it's that you have more ability to connect to the higher level that already exists, that is a part of you. Okay, so there's more harmonization and synchronization with the higher frequencies.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
I wanted to ask if you could comment on the relationship between sex and the human soul, of wanting to understand what belief system you would advise for channeling this very powerful, amazing energy.
Sex
in a sexual way
is an alignment of all the different levels, thus then grounding the higher energy into physical energy in an aligned way and opening up channels within the body that allows for communication back to the higher level.
Beautiful.
It is the grounding of a circuit, the completion of a circuit, and thus then once the path has been defined, it is thus then the allowance of the lightning strike to align all the centers and allow for clear communication back to the higher levels. That's its fundamental function. The idea sociologically is simply this. What any individuals prefer, what they choose to believe is preferable for themselves, simply needs to be communicated to others clearly and concisely so that all individuals involved in whatever the relationship form is all know what the belief systems of the other individuals are and are all given the opportunity to decide whether or not for them personally what is being offered is true for them or preferable for them. Other than that, no judgment need apply. As long as there is consensus and consent among the idea of those that are capable of giving consent, then in that sense it is all for a positive reason. The idea of any so-called damage that has been done would require a deep understanding of the conditions and the belief systems that created the experience to begin with, and a sharing and a helping and an assistance to allow those individuals to learn from those choices and to choose other things that may result in more positive experiences.
The concept that she's explaining is that it's, as humans, we should only use sex to procreate.
Why?
Because any other use of it is extraneous. I don't know. I
extraneous. Why?
I guess you'd have to ask her.
The only thing that makes it extraneous is when there is not clear communication of all parties in a relationship and clear consent to participate in like vibration. If that is not what's happening in a relationship that involves sex, then in that sense it's extraneous. But it is not extraneous unto itself.
Yes.
It can be used in many ways beneficially for the alignment and raising of vibrations and bondings and connections that are extremely spiritual in nature.
Okay.
But it depends on how it's used and with what intention. If there is subterfuge, if there is clarity, if there is hidden secrets, if there is lack of communication, if there is intent to trick, if there is intent to dominate, if there is intent to control, that is extraneous sex. If it is all by consensus, if it is a play, if it is enjoyable, if it is by agreement, if it builds on each other and helps support each other and allows each other, or how many ever in the relationship, to discover more and more of who they are and supports that goal, it is being used in an appropriate manner positively in that way.
Okay, great.
At least that's our view.
I have a question.
Yes.
I choose to smoke every day.
Oh, all right. What are you smoking?
Cigarettes.
All right. And why do you choose this? No judgment, just why do you choose it? What do you believe it does for you as a permission slip? You understand it is a permission slip, right?
Yes, of course.
All right, so what do you believe it does for you?
When I do not choose it,
Yes?
I observe that I am extremely horny. There's an overflow of sexual energy.
All right.
And my question is, how can I use this overflow of sexual energy in a positive way to be of service?
Can you transform the energy where it is and when it is appropriate into other forms of creative expression?
Sure.
Well, then, does that siphon off some of the energy being expressed in a sexual way or not?
Sometimes it does.
And sometimes it does not? Is that what you're saying?
I don't know.
You don't know.
Yes.
Why wouldn't you know that? It's your body. Yes? No? Maybe?
Maybe yes. Excuse me.
All right.
Is there any specific information you could give me to...
When you have what appears to be an excess of sexual energy,
Yes.
go get laid.
I mean, besides all that.
Well, why besides that? Why not that?
Because my girlfriend is not around all the time.
All right. Then those are the times that you can siphon it into different creative expressions, yes?
Yes.
Or, of course, you can service yourself.
Yes. Can I ask another question?
We're not done with this one yet. We have a question for you.
Yes.
Do you paint? Do you draw? Do you write? Something like that?
I write and I design graphics.
Is there something you've been wanting to write that you have been hesitating to write?
Yes.
What's that?
That's a book about empowerment.
What's the hesitation to start writing it?
I don't know.
Oh, yes, you do. You're not going to get away with that. What are you afraid of? What are you afraid will happen if you go forward and write the book you say that you're really excited to write? What's the hesitation? What's the fear? What will happen? Come on.
Maybe
What?
that I can sustain financially.
So you have a limited definition of abundance because
Yes.
you don't allow your definition to be broad enough to support you in whatever way it needs to support you, which doesn't necessarily mean it will always be money.
Yes.
But remember that our definition of abundance is the ability to do what you need to do when you need to do it. Do you believe that you can attract whatever form of abundance you need to attract to allow you to support yourself in whatever way you need to continue to do what you need to do?
Yes.
Then why not allow that to be there so that you can do the thing that excites you? And by the way, doing the thing you say would excite you, writing this book, Certainly that's something you can do in some of the time that you have, yes?
Yes.
If you are, and here's the key, blocking yourself and creatively frustrating yourself, you follow me?
Yes.
You're going to build up excess creative energy that's going to want to express itself in other ways because you're not expressing the flow in the direction you would actually prefer to.
That helps. Thank you.
You understand?
Yes.
So get writing. Use that hand for something else.
Thank you very much, Bashar.
Thank you. I feel like I need a cigarette now.
Thank you. How might experiences of sexuality continue to shift and evolve as our consciousness evolves?
Well, in many different ways, perhaps, all the way up to what we experience now and beyond, where our activity sexually is no longer exactly physical, but more energetic in the creation of energy bubbles that interlink, overlap, and create a third life within the overlap. So it's no longer the physical act that it used to be for us, that it still is for you. But again, as you open yourself up in a fourth density, higher vibrational way, you'll be clearer about the reasons for the idea of expressing sexuality, and they will all be more in your expression aligned with the positive vibration and less aligned with the negative vibration. You will know perfectly the reasons why you may experience the idea of sexuality, and they will all enhance your ability to evolve forward in the fourth density reality that you're creating.
And that is, I've always had more of a separation than I would like between love and sex. I've never been able to put those two together in a way that makes sense to me.
In what way?
In that I can be sexual
Yes.
without a love connection, and I can be loving without a sexual connection.
Yes, well, what's so mysterious about that?
I would prefer to put the two together.
Then put them together. What's stopping you?
That's the question.
It doesn't have to be that way in every case, in every relationship. There will be some expression of love with sex. There will be some expression of sexual energy with love, but they can be expressed to varying degrees in a variety of ways depending upon what the purpose of the relationship happens to be. You have to allow the relationship to be what it is and not place expectations on what you think it should be. Then those relationships that are representative of the ability to experience both will simply naturally evolve, naturally happen, naturally come through synchronicity if it's relevant for you to experience that in your life.
Is that in our culture we have this romanticism thing
Yes.
that goes on where you're supposed to, quote, put the
Yes.
two together.
Yes.
And I'm wondering...
But you've just said it yourself. It's a cultural thing that you've been taught that you're supposed to do.
Right.
That should tell you right there that
That's a
in
big red
sense,
flag.
It's artificial.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily designed in a way that allows you to experience what the relationships are really for. It allows you to impose all sorts of expectations and assumptions on it that may have nothing to do with what the relationship is in your life for. But letting it be natural, those that then need to have it represented that way will be represented that way. It will come naturally. It will be a natural expression. You won't have to force it.
Some spiritual teachers, especially from the yogic tradition, have been teaching that desire is the root of all suffering. And they also teach celibacy as an important tool to achieve self-realization or enlightenment.
Yes.
Is there any truth to restricting sexual energy to be beneficial in that way? And also, what about this idea of the root of all suffering is desire?
The root of all suffering is resistance to the natural self. What they're kind of saying in their own language is that many times, because of negative and fear-based belief systems, people can become caught up in the desire for things in an overstated way. They can go too far. They can overcompensate. They might even go into the idea of addiction. But these things have more to do with belief in disempowerment than they do with the idea of actual sexual energy. Anything can be used in a positive or a negative way. So what they're simply saying is, don't do it negatively. Don't relate to these energies in a negative way. Now, for themselves, in terms of promoting these particular methodologies, this may have more to do simply with their belief system, that they may fear that if they don't impose those kinds of restrictions on themselves in the way that they choose to, in using that permission slip in that way, that they might have a fear-based belief that they would overcompensate. And so they're simply putting it out there that there may be other people like them who are holding on to fear-based beliefs that would cause them to go too far in one direction, so to speak, get out of balance in a way with those particular relationships of energy to themselves. So they're simply saying, if you have that particular belief system like we do, this can be of some assistance to you to do these things in this way. But still, with honest self-investigation, you can decide whether that technique is true for you, or whether you have a different way of handling your relationship to your own energy in a way that allows you to know that you will simply not go too far, that you will choose to remain in balance, and that you can use those particular ideas in a more balanced way.
Do you have thoughts on polyamory?
Whatever it is that someone is attracted to do that is in agreement by consensus with everyone else, as long as there is clear communication about what is going on with everyone so that they are making a conscious choice in those arrangements, then that's fine.
Is there a way to kind of transcend jealousy in those settings, or is that always a part of our human experience?
No, it is not. Jealousy means you think you're missing something. That you're not getting what you need. It is a poor me situation. I'm deprived definition.
Right.
So you're not trusting the way your life unfolds, and you're not actually living your passion.
Yeah. I finally met somebody who feels like a good match, but since that happened, it feels like I've lost a lot of my desire. It's almost like I was more into the chase than actually having. I don't know if there's any way that I can really drop in.
Then do an investigation about what it is you actually got out of that and the reasons for why you experienced it in the way that you did. You need some honest self-investigation about why you choose to do the things you do. So take some time to do that. Don't be in a hurry to do anything else other than figure out why you do what you do. That's what will help you the most.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
When people exchange sexual energy or even kiss, some people say that there's like a DNA transfer and that people take on energy from others. To what extent is that true, and how long does that energy stick around?
The idea is you are simply matching frequencies with the other being, and it sticks around as long as you desire to match frequencies with them. And then when you change your frequency...
Some people are very dogmatic about that.
I understand.
Do you have any perspective on the importance of gay, lesbian, and bisexual people and other queer people in that planetary evolution or ascension?
It is important for the evolution on your planet because it shows people on your planet that there are many different ways to express the soul and love.
And on individual levels, is there something more significant that we can cultivate?
Well, it can be. Yes, it can be, but we're going to leave that up to every individual who experiences it.
That was all of my questions, too. You answered every single one.
Thank you very much.
You're amazingly synchronistic, and I love you so much.
We love you unconditionally. Please move forward in your life in the best possible way for you, paying attention to why you do what you do. That's all you need to do.
Okay. I hope to meet you soon. I hope that all of our extraterrestrial friends can land and we can have a big party.
Someday that will be possible.
I look forward to it. Thank you, Bashar.
You are welcome.
Bashar.
Yes.
Can you tell me about masturbation?
What about it?
Good question.
Perhaps you will have to refer to masturbates to ask that question.
Is it a positive thing or a negative thing?
Do you understand the idea that anything and everything can serve both functions? Everything is fundamentally neutral. So the idea is that any act can serve either a positive or a negative effect. It depends on how it's used. It depends upon the intention behind it. It depends upon the alignment of energy in which the act is done, or the lack of alignment in which the act is done. Every circumstance can serve positive or negative results.
If it's based on your highest excitement at the time.
Well, then you know the answer, yes?
Yes, okay.
But the idea is to pay attention and have the discernment as to why it is actually being done. And I mean anything, not just the example you provided.
But the concept and idea of preserving the semen in your body and not releasing it give you more powers or energy or...
It depends on how you use it.
It depends on how I use it.
Yes.
But if I release it and I can still sustain that capacity of energy...
Have you ever gone to the gym?
Yes.
Have you ever run?
Yes.
Have you ever sweated?
Yes.
Well, you released a lot of water from your body. Didn't you need it?
Yeah.
Did it reduce your power?
For temporary.
And then what did you do?
Regenerated.
Thank you. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
All right, then there you go. You sweated it out for what you believed was a positive action, yes?
Yes.
You got positive benefits out of losing all that moisture from your body, yes?
Yes.
So you have to pay attention to the intention behind the act. If it is truly your excitement, then by definition it cannot harm you. The duty that you have is to be honest enough with yourself as to whether the intention behind it actually is positive or negative. Because many of you have the capacity to fool yourselves and think that you're doing something exciting when in fact it's not representative of your excitement. And vice versa.
So how do you know for sure?
You have to have honesty and willingness to explore and be honest with yourself about the motivations behind what you choose to do.
I see.
And if you are that honest and that willing, you'll figure it out.
I see.
I want to say good day to you this day of your time. How are you all? Once again, we take this opportunity to thank each and every one of you for allowing this transmission to occur through this particular window, on this particular day, and in this particular manner. Once again, each and every time you allow this transmission to be translated through this gateway in this way, it affords our civilization an opportunity to experience new facets and new aspects of creation through the interaction of each and every one of you and your unique presentation of creation. So we thank you for this gift of sharing. We would like to begin this transmission this day of your time with the following notion. We would like to call this following subject the eye of the beholder. We have recently discussed with some of you a new understanding, a new perspective to the question that some of you have had for many years. We have heard many of your people ask about when certain kinds of contact with extraterrestrial species would occur more openly, and we have discussed with many of you for many years some of the reasons as to why this is not yet appropriate. We have talked, and we will now recap briefly the idea about how when civilizations are full of people that are operating on a particular wavelength, a particular frequency of energy, and if that frequency is lower in general than the frequency of energy exhibited by another civilization, then to put the higher frequency civilization in contact with the lower frequency civilization before the lower frequency civilization is ready can actually do harm, because when two frequencies are brought together, the higher one tends to overwhelm the lower one in the specific manner of forcing the lower frequency to speed up. And when your frequency speeds up, that is representative of all the things you have hidden within your consciousness, your psyche, all the fears, all the doubts, being forced to the surface before you may be ready to integrate them, to process them at your own pace, in your own way. And so, civilizations that are of higher frequency, who have respect, will not force themselves upon a lower frequency civilization. And by lower frequency, of course, once again, this is not meant in a judgmental way. It is simply that different people, different civilizations are at different places evolutionarily. And it must be shall we say, cautionary in how these contacts are made, so as not to do damage, so as not to disrupt, but in respectful manner. And we have talked about this many times. Now, we would like to add one more idea, one more understanding of the effect that encountering an alien species would have upon many of you. Many of you already know that when certain occurrences, life-changing occurrences, happen to you, you look at things very differently. Your perspective of life changes. Your perspective of other people changes. This would be greatly amplified were you to suddenly, at this present point in your evolution, come face to face with some species of other civilizations. In seeing them, in knowing beyond a shadow of a doubt that they are, in your terms, real and present, it would alter not only how you look at things in general, but very specifically would alter how you look at members of your own species. You would never look at humans the same way again. To actually encounter a member of another race from another civilization changes your perspective about all life, all consciousness, especially because of the difference in frequency that you would be subjected to in encountering another species. And when you turn back around and look at your own species, you will not see them the same way. You will not necessarily even see them as real. You will no longer be able to relate to them in the same way. And while there is nothing intrinsically wrong with this, when done without proper preparation, it can be to some degree damaging in your outlook in life. Damaging because you will no longer feel that you fit in, even more so than many of you feel that way now. And the idea is that would literally be alienating to many of you. It is important, from our perspective at least, in our opinion at least, that you remain cohesive even in the changes that you make. For even as many of you change and even as many of you feel very different from other members of your society, you are still of a kind. You are still of an ilk. The difference we are talking about, the profoundness of the change, would be something beyond what you are used to experiencing. You would truly, in many ways, be alien. And it would not serve you to not be able to fit in certain ways at this time. Until such time as the integration within each and every one of you has taken place to a greater degree than it has right now, until that time, then, physical contact is held back on the part of most species. We know that there are, of course, certain species that are in connection, are in contact with your species, but these have very different agendas, are interacting for very different reasons, and are of very different vibration than many of the species we are talking about that have higher resonances. So do not be impatient for this. The most important thing is to make contact with yourselves, to integrate yourselves, to recognize the differences, to cherish them, to amplify and expand in creative ways upon the diversity within your own culture before you are ready to take the step in learning how to integrate the differences and diversity in other cultures altogether. So we simply offer to you this additional reason for why there is specificity in the timing of when these things will occur. It will not really be so very long. Again, as we have said, the beginnings of some of these encounters will occur within the next decade and will increase and accelerate thereafter as certain changes occur in your society. The point is to simply live your life, not detach yourself from earthly concerns, but recognize that you chose to be where you are for your own reasons, and the idea is to get in touch with those reasons so that you can help not only change yourself, but help others change in beneficial and positive ways according to their own desires and choices, so that in so doing and cherishing your own diversity, you then create the blending and the integration necessary to be capable of presenting yourself as a cohesive planet to other cohesive planets. Then and there will contact be made. Only when you meet us halfway. Until such time, this is the nature of contact now, in that people have been, so to speak, trained to allow conversation and communication and transmissions to occur in this and other similar manners, so that we can have an exchange of ideas without forcing our presence upon you, so that we can leave it up to you to decide whether or not you believe we are real. For we do not care if you believe we are real. We know we are real. The thing that matters is whether you believe in yourselves. That is the most important thing we can impart to any of you. You must believe in yourself, first and foremost. For each of you is a unique aspect of creation and worthy of absolute, full recognition of that fact and unconditional support in that knowing. We thank you for allowing us to share this point of view with you this day of your time. And once again, in return for the gift that you are giving to our world, in allowing us to share in this exchange with you, I ask in return, in what way may I be of service to you now?
While many of you have been experiencing more synchronicity in your lives by using the formula that we have outlined, following your passion to the best you can, no assumption, no insistence on the outcome, remaining in a positive state no matter what manifests, so that you can gain the benefit from it, we have come to realize in various conversations that there may still be a little bit of misunderstanding or confusion or lack of clarity about some of these concepts we have discussed with you in the past. Therefore, today, in this transmission, we would like to provide a little bit more precision in the understanding and explanation and definition of these concepts of state of being, circumstance, and synchronicity, and how they work. So the idea is to understand, first and foremost, that some people, when we talk about circumstance, and we have said circumstance doesn't matter, only state of being matters, there are many things to understand about this that will help clarify this concept. When we talk about the idea that circumstances don't matter, we don't mean that they don't have value. We don't mean that you should ignore the circumstance. Some people have taken that phrase in this manner. What we're saying is, circumstances are the result of your state of being. They don't cause the state of being, your belief systems do. And when your belief systems create a state of being, that's what generates your reality experience, the reflection you get in your physical reality that creates the so-called circumstance or situation that you experience. So while the idea is that the circumstance isn't what creates your state of being, it can still be used to understand what your state of being is. Saying that it doesn't matter simply means it isn't the causation of your state of being. Therefore, don't go off the circumstance as if that's what's responsible for the state of being you're in. Always look to your belief systems first to determine why your state of being is the way it is, why your vibrational frequency is at the level that it's at. Therefore, you can always use your circumstance as a guiding mechanism to get in touch with what you would have to believe is true in order to have created this reflection, this circumstance. But sometimes you will just create circumstance to gauge what your state of being is, to be able to tell, like a reflective mirror, well, because of this circumstance and these things being arranged in this way and this prop here and that person there saying this thing at this time, look to your response, look to your reaction to those things to help you illuminate what your belief system is that's creating the state of being that is giving you this reflective circumstance in order, again, to get in touch with what the belief system is. It's kind of a circular tool. The idea is then not to ignore the circumstance as if it has no importance or no value, but to utilize it to gauge for yourself more clarity in what you believe to be true that is therefore creating a vibrational frequency that brings about this particular circumstance in order for you to understand more clearly what your belief system is, in order to reveal what that is to you more clearly. So it's about using the circumstance in the way it is designed, in the way it is built, not just ignoring it and thinking you can change your state of being without necessarily understanding why the circumstance is what it is as a set of props in order for you to get in touch with what the belief is that created the state of being to begin with, that brought about the circumstance. Also, connecting to the concept of synchronicity that brings you these circumstances in exactly the form in which they come, it's very important to understand how synchronicity works in a little bit more detail. It's all well and good when you allow yourself to recognize synchronicity, when it brings you an opportunity that is representative of your passion, and it brings you the ability to act on things in the direction of your passion, and it brings you signs and signals that you learn to interpret as being representative of your path, which again is represented by the vibration of your passion. But also, there are times when people might become a little bit confused, a little bit frustrated, why certain things are not going in the direction you thought that they would. Well, again, of course, this ties into not having insistence or assumption, as we have said many times, but the idea also is that synchronicity will work not only to provide you an opportunity to act, but more importantly, will sometimes provide you an opportunity to not be able to act in the direction that is not representative of your path of least resistance. Many people don't understand that synchronicity can use the negative side for positive reasons. So your inability sometimes to actually go forward in a certain direction is also an indication sometimes of synchronicity showing you this is not the next step to take. This is not the direction you need to go in. This is not the path of least resistance, even though at first it may have seemed so. So it's important to really clarify in your observational skills, in your discernment skills, the ability to tell when synchronicity is not only telling you, yes, act on this, but is also telling you, do not act on this. You don't have the ability to act on this. This is not going to take you further. And you have to pay attention and have the discernment to tell the difference between when synchronicity is telling you, this is not something you can act on, or whether or not is your own fear-based belief telling you not to go forward. We understand that this can be sometimes a little bit challenging to tell apart, but nevertheless, once you begin to understand a little bit more clearly that synchronicity can work this way and actually prevent you from moving forward on a path that is not yours, you'll be able to tell the difference through practice between your own fears stopping you and synchronicity simply putting up its hand and saying, no, not this way. Look for the other way that contains your passion. Don't keep trying to go down this path, because right now, this is not the path of least resistance. This is not representative of the passion that is truly you. So the idea is that synchronicity and circumstance and state of being all work together, kind of in a triad, to help give you the guidance and give you the ability to know where you stand as a navigational tool, so to speak, at any given moment, to let you know what is something to act on, what is not something to act on, and to observe these things, to stay in that state where you look at your state of being, where you look at the circumstance and the value that it brings you as a reflection, and you understand and look at the synchronicity and how it is working, both in the ability to act or the ability not to act. You can gain in that process more insight into exactly your timing, your pacing, making sure that you are exactly where you need to be when you need to be there in terms of your state of being. And remember, please, it is not about trying to get somewhere more than it is simply being exactly where you are in that process. Never assume you need to rush forward. Never assume you need to go faster than you are or slower than you are. The idea is that the synchronicity in working with state of being and circumstance if you are willing to have this discernment and realize all the different ways this is working for you and use these tools in the way they can work for you, you will then always be willing and excited to stay in the moment, in the process, because that's the most important thing right there. Not where you need to go after that, but right there, that's the whole idea. That's the whole reason why whatever is happening is to be in that process and in a state of being and in a circumstance synchronistically where you are examining your belief systems, finding out what the value of the circumstance is as it came to you, discerning what synchronicity is telling you about moving forward or not moving forward at that particular moment in that particular way, and adjusting your state of being and first and foremost your belief systems in order to allow your state of being to bring you the circumstance and the synchronicity in the form in which it is most clear and working most precisely to allow you to take the best possible advantage of the formula and the instruction manual that we have shared with all of you. So let this sink in, ponder this, and allow these things in this moment that you ponder them to simply come to you and work for you. Again, you don't have to be anywhere else more important than what's happening in that moment. And just dive deeply into it. Meditate on it, think about it, however you wish to do it. But stay with that triad of state of being and circumstance and synchronicity, and really give yourself an opportunity to learn to develop the discernment to find out exactly what each of those tools is working for you and how it works for you best, by just staying right there with it and not being in a hurry to be anywhere else.
Say good day to you this day of your time. How are you all? Perfect. How are all of you? Perfect. And the rest of you? Perfect. Thank you. Allow us to once again thank each and every one of you for establishing the link in this way at this time between our respective civilizations. Each and every time our civilization is given an opportunity to communicate with yours in this way, we receive the gift of being allowed to see through you that many more ways that creation has of expressing itself, and thus it expands our understanding of the infinite. So we thank you for that gift. We have been speaking to you of late about the concept of manifestation in a little bit more precise and condensed manner, and we would like to continue to do so this day of your time. There are many different aspects to the idea of how it is your consciousness manifests the day-to-day reality that you experience. But we would like to sum it up in a very concise three-part harmony. Intention, action, without expectation, is the major key by which you create your reality. Intention. Your beliefs, your emotions, your visions, your thoughts, what you intend, what you desire, what you wish, what you prefer your reality to be. This is all wrapped up in the concept of intention, that focus of consciousness that allows you to know, to choose what it is you prefer your life to be, how it is you prefer to express it, what you intend to do. But intention is not enough for manifestation, for bringing that wish, that vision into your physical reality. It must go hand in hand with action, physical action, for you are physical beings. And in order to manifest your intention, you must ground it in physical reality, and this is done through physical action. When you have an intention, you must act on the opportunities that come to you, that are representative of the joy of your vision, of your dream, of your wish. You must act out the scenario of the vision you see in your mind as best as you can, as closely as you can, to the vision that you see, that you say is representative of your dream, of your wish, of your desire. You must act like the person you see in that vision already in order to become the vibration of the reality. Because if you don't become the vibration of the reality, the frequency of the reality, the energy of the reality, you cannot attract the reality. You have to be the vibration first before you can attract it magnetically to you. Now, while you're doing all of this intending and focusing and acting, you also have to add a third ingredient, which is very paradoxical because it would seem as if to be, at first, a cancellation of the first two principles of intention and action, but it isn't. It is actually the secret ingredient that allows it to work, not makes it work, allows it to work. For everything works automatically when you allow it to. This is how you get out of your way, so to speak, to cease imposing certain parameters, certain beliefs, certain definitions that are actually what are standing in the way, most often, from you allowing yourself to attract the reality that you prefer. This third ingredient, after intention, after action, is total lack of expectation that it must come out in the way you saw it. You must absolutely 100% let go of any need, of any expectation that it must manifest that way. The reason for this is, primarily, that when you place an expectation, usually, the way you have been taught to in your society, upon a wish that you have, upon a desire that you have, you are actually taking unconscious definitions you're not aware of, and you're limiting how it is that that reality could actually manifest. You think that by expecting, by insisting that it come out that way, that you are helping it to manifest, but in fact you're actually helping it to manifest on a far lower level than it actually might were you to relax your expectation. Because your mind is not really capable of imagining all the ways that it could come to you. And the idea of having an intentional focus and taking action is simply to act as a magnetic seed, a core, to attract the manifestation of the reality. But the manifestation could be many times greater than you are capable of envisioning. So by placing a certain expectation that it must come out exactly as I saw it or it won't be right, is actually limiting the way it could come out even better than you imagined. You must let it go, because the universe already works. It's a mechanism that knows how to manifest automatically. All you have to do is plant the seed. That magnetic seed is the intention and the action, then let it go. And just keep acting on the things that excite you, even if they do not immediately appear to be connected to the original vision. Excitement is what lets you know it is connected, and you will automatically be drawn into the circumstances, right place, right time, right people, to attract the reality in unexpected ways. Make a friend of the unexpected. Don't try to straitjacket it. It won't work. Let it be what it is, for it is multidimensional. And if you attempt to confine the manifestation of your reality down into one particular definition that you have been taught to believe it must be, you are shutting the doors on all the ways abundance could come to you, because abundance is many things. So intend, have the vision, act, be that person in that vision, then let it go. No expectation that it has to be that idea at all, because you never know. You might actually be capable of receiving a reality that is more reflective of the total you, rather than the little slice of you that your personality has been trained to be. Trust yourself. Trust your total self. It knows what it's doing. When you do not place the burden of the manifestation of your physical reality on the shoulders of only the physical personality, you will see that the whole spirit that you are, the whole being that you are, the whole consciousness that you are, knows exactly what it's doing, always has and always will. Now, we thank you for allowing us to remind you of this idea, for we are not telling you anything new. These are things you already know in your spirit, but perhaps have not allowed your personality to remember. We thank you again for the opportunity to remind you of who you already are. In return, once again, for the gift you are giving to us of allowing us to experience all of the myriad facets of your civilization in this contact, I ask you now, in what way may I, at this time, be of service?